Hello, folks. Um, just gonna play some games here. I'm just gonna stick to Elden Ring because this game is fantastic. Let me just open the chat, which basically I have to open YouTube. Which gonna oh fuck, I don't need subscription. I far again, of course. Uh, Let me just take in my. God damn it! I have to delete this. I gonna delete these characters. I'm gonna delete this one, and now we'll start with the passport, bro. Cancel. All right. There's gonna be significant change in my channel. So yeah. Uh, Fuck. I far again. Come on. Uh, so let me just ask my friends. Uh, I hope we're gonna have some visitor in our channel. Please, I want views. I never had views in my life, and since I mean, I used to stream before on Twitch, but basically we just it was moreover like, to be fair, it was just completely shy. So yeah, just gonna move the stream here, and yeah, just gonna watch the chat over here, and basically I did a little setup here. So basically, I'm just gonna I will try to improve my stuff with streaming because streaming is so fun. I mean, I do as a hobby, to be fair. Um, Basically, right? Who's watching me? Oh, it's myself. I'm sorry. Just gonna send it to a few people because I'm bored. I don't want views, by the way, because I just want to chill on the streams. I want to do it as a hobby. Right. Let me send it to a few people over here. All right. Okay. Uh, right, just gonna put on my story. Whoever wants to come to watch can. So it's all good. All right. Let me just take a good picture on it. I'm on live stream. Let me just put some link. Mention it. Questionable. Sounds questionable. Where's the link? Wait, I cannot link. How do I have a link? Nah, fuck this shit. I'm on live. Link. Well, can't do that. Go to other link. Uh, oh, what the? Hey, what do you think you're doing, huh? That little shit. Oh, fucking hell. This game just hate me. Mention it. Shit. Who had a link on this application? Fuck. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Here we go. There we go. Checked. Oh. Yes, I'm on live. Alright, that's it. And just gonna post it here. Story friends only. And let me just send it to my folks on Discord. And I hope there is a comment here and views. Alright. Just post it here. There we go. I'm just gonna post here as well. Alright. It's a good one. Right, let's go. We're gonna play now. I just bring this down a little down, cause gonna watch the screen and again will be shite. Alright, that's gonna be good. So, what are we gonna do? I don't know. I've got 2012 rings, so basically it's gonna bullshit, you know. What we can do, I don't know. Maybe we're just gonna farm. Or wait, how much build we've got? Wait. Oh wait, I'm gonna get attacked here. Wait, how much build we got here? How much we need? Oh, well, we need 600. So basically, we're just gonna farm them here. I'm gonna farm a bit. I'm sorry. In Souls games, I'm crazy about farming and stuff. There we go. Right. We're not gonna play on the Elden Ring. I plan to play a bit of Cyberpunk. Probably something on the Xbox, or probably play on some probably play Final Fantasy, because I really love Final Fantasy games. Particularly, I love Sephiroth. Sephiroth is the best character. He's my favorite villain, and yeah, basically. If I get better on Elden Ring, I might just make a cosplay character on Elden Ring. So yeah, what I did is just making a split screen on my laptop. So basically, I can see my gaming how it works better than my TV. And basically, on right is my OBS, while on left is my chat. Who probably no one's gonna appear, to be honest, because honestly, I don't know. Probably just gonna watch some views and shits, and basically it's just gonna be like probably just gonna end up like I'm just gonna stream for the fun, and that's completely fine because I stream for fun anyway. Alright, I've got this cool knife, by the way. This knife is so cool. Yeah, I just wanna farm a bit because I just wanna spend my ranks for. Wait, what we can build? 19. Strength, dexterity, right, vigor, endurance, mind, intelligence. No, I'm gonna make a different. No, probably I'm just gonna buy Dark Souls, the School of Sinner, the Scholarship of Sinners on my Xbox, and probably just play here, because I literally am I mean, I'm addicted to spend games for. I'm addicted to spend money for video games and stuff, because I'm just bored anyway. I don't respect my finance and stuff. Blah. All right. All right. That. Okay. So we can go there. By the way, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the manga of Elden Ring, but there's a manga of Elden Ring which is really cool. And actually, the manga makes me start playing this game again. Because I don't know, I start loving manga a lot in some reason. And yeah, so basically that's my build. I've got this eggs, but this knife is just gorgeous. It's more gorgeous than East European woman. and, no, because on my streams, basically we just you just like you just you just oh shit, no, that's not gonna work with a knife. Don't ever touch my horse. No, don't touch my horse. Fucking cunt. Actually, there is a one fact about Bulgarians with horse meat, and yeah, I don't need my horse. All right, you're dead. Probably just gonna kill this motherfucker again. Wait, someone watching me. No, no one likes my streams. I'm so sad, bro. Gonna play some Lil Peep, bro. Alright, I'm just gonna track this guy. Gonna track this little con. You just come here, right? Come on. You're completely fine to fight me. And I'm gonna do this one to you. And ready to build. Right, so where is the ring? Here. Alright, it was so tired that I just ate McDonald's. And I lost my six pack. I don't know, bro. I'm just want to eat McDonald's. So tired. Oh, I could make it pretty strange. It doesn't matter. Alright, alright, I'm just gonna beat him like that. Basically, you, bro. Alright, just fuck. I've got this one. Bro, this. Oh, thanks. Bro, alright, where is this NPC? So I have to find this NPC. No, I can't even see you, bro. Sorry. Why the fuck I drinking anyway? Skill. If I find you, bro, I can't find you. I'm sorry. That's you. No, not. Hey, bro, get the. Cause I can't see you, bro. Just gonna keep exploring stuff. All right. Wait, what? I just got a sword. That doesn't even work. No, thank you. I don't need your sword. Yeah, just come. Fuck. I'm gonna kill your horse. Fucking hell, man. Yeah. For your horse. Come on. Oh, finally got this weapon. 16 dexterity. Oh, that's fine. Gonna build this. Can do it. This knife is so cool. That's the best knife ever. So basically, I'm just gonna build some dexterity and then. By the way, how much dexterity I've got? I've got 13 dexterity. I need 16. Oh shit. Well, after 20 strengths, we can build some dexterity and we'll be fine. And I'll probably focus on intelligence because I wanna try a pyromars stuff, you know. Alright. Alright, so let me just kill them. And just kill. That was too much damage. Alright. Oh yeah. Fuck. fuck's sake. Nah, can't deal with this. So basically I have to take my horse. Oh, poor guy. Oh, alright. Just come. Come on. I just taking this down. And I cooked you up. Bro, this knife is so cool, bro. There we go. Let's see what it got there. So curious. Open. What is this? Wow, great eggs. Oh. How much string? Oh, 30 strings. Alright, we got this. We got this. Sure. Actually, I will make strings most considerous, but to be fair. Alright. The zombies. By the way, I've got an idea. I can play my PlayStation 3. I've got a Demon Souls. What do you think? That's gonna be crazy. And Demon Souls is very difficult. This is the most difficult Souls game, bro. Don't even play this fucking shit. Oh, thank you. Bro, we can play Demon Souls. Oh no, bro, that's gonna be crazy. Oh. Wait, I wanna kill this motherfucker first because he's gonna be difficult. So, I'm just here. Alright. Come get some, yeah. Is y'all gonna watch my streams? Oh. Nice one. Alright. Got this one. Mm. There we go. Elden Ring is a good game as fuck. Oh, wanna kill these ones? Oh shit. Wait. I need to kill this guy. Oh, come get some, yeah. Shit. I mean this one. Mm. Just gonna kill everything, bro. Alright, so we got 4,600 and 7 souls. Oh my god, souls. No, I mean ranks. Oh my god, that's not a Dark Soul, that's Elden Ring. I mean, they're the same, but honestly, I like Elden Ring, the character edition, because I can have this extreme long hair. So basically, yeah. Let me play some views here. Maybe you can comment. Uh, right. So. Mm. So just open my browser. Opera. This is the best browser. This is where I watch YouTube, and you actually don't need to pay for premium. Bass Pro Bros love two countries. Alright. What we can. It's over. Why I'm leaving Britain? You should too. H poorly. The rise and fall of Tinder. What really killed the app? Let's see that.
So dating app Tinder had been a cultural phenomenon and had changed the way dating had worked forever. In just a few years, it had gone from nothing, just an idea, to over $1 billion in revenue a year. And along the way had been changing the way people date, doing over 1 billion swipes a day, very quickly within a few years of founding. But fast forward a few years, and today, well, Tinder is going the other direction. Young people aren't interested in it, and 80% of people are saying, hey, like dating apps actually suck, and many of them are giving up on them entirely. And Tinder itself is in huge trouble. They've had massive turnover of CEOs, switching over people 5 times in the past 4 years, just absolute total cratering. This video, which I'm recording in front of a former school, because later on I'll explain to you why school is important to the story. This video is about what went wrong with Tinder and what we as small business owners can learn about it and avoid making mistakes ourselves. So stay tuned. If you're new here, my name is Michael. I record videos about what goes wrong in business. I share lessons that we can all take for our own businesses for that. So if you like that kind of stuff, do me a favor, engage with this video, and consider subscribing to my newsletter, which is linked right here. It's free, and I send out content that will be very useful if you're an aspiring or current business owner. Plus, it helps with my self-esteem. So the seeds of today's kind of failure of Tinder really harkens back to the very early days of what made it work. And in those very first days, Tinder actually came out of an incubator that was part of a media company called IAC. They did basically kind of the things that Silicon Valley dreams are made of. And the two founders, early on, they went out and they did a lot of the things that worked for basically venture-backed startups at the time. They did things that didn't scale. And in fact, they famously took the idea of Tinder and went from college campus to college campus to get people to sign up. In other words, they basically did hand-to-hand combat early on to get the first customers for the thing. And these founders, they came and had this idea at kind of a perfect time for the perfect type of customer around the founding of Tinder. And it happened early kind of 2012 when all this was going on. And who was dating the most early in 2012? Well, it turns out those are millennials. And millennials are one of the most unique generations in the history of the United States, and in the world for that matter. And there's some things they really like as a generation. And one of those is, well, they want to kind of avoid some of the tougher things in life, like rejection. And Tinder came along at kind of the perfect time. You see, old school dating would have enabled you, like in my generation, I'm Gen X, having to go to a bar and walk up to somebody and talk to them about, hey, are you interested in dating me? Are you interested? The cool thing about doing something like Tinder, where all you're doing is swiping right and see who matches with you, is that whole thing of fear of rejection is basically wiped out. And kind of beautiful, and came along at a perfect time for a generation who was ready to absolutely buy something of that kind of nature, the millennials. And the second thing that was genius about Tinder was it rode another wave that was coming through, which was the mobile phone wave. And at this point, we were starting to see things like Uber and other things that were entirely made possible because of mobile devices that we were all carrying at all times, and eventually it turns out we were all on them at all times. And in the case of Tinder, right, it rode this mobile wave. It basically turned dating into an app that you could play on your phone that was basically gamifying the whole process of finding a mate. It's absolutely genius, and it came across at the perfect time. And just a couple years in, this idea and the implementation of it, that included the two founders and a core team, including a lady named Whitney Wolf, who will come back in and be very important later on, basically took this idea and ran with it. And it took off like wildfire. Basically, we had a situation where within a couple years, there were like 16 million matches a day happening on the app. Just absolutely crazy numbers, billions of swipes, and just a crazy kind of a level of adoption. And it absolutely was nailed. They had it all right. The average user was spending 90 minutes a day on Tinder. Just absolutely crazy levels of adoption. And before Tinder, online dating hadn't been not a new thing. Like, it existed. There were websites, Match.com, and the likes that existed before. But nobody had really recognized the opportunity to take and gamify dating and to make it something really kind of an addictive mobile experience. And, well, frankly, it wasn't possible before then because mobile wasn't a thing. And this is another kind of theme that you'll hear in the stuff on this channel, which is you have to pay attention to the changes in the world happening around you, and they often present opportunities. And in this case, the idea of mobile becoming pervasive, this technology change, created a huge opportunity for these founders to build a business that wasn't new. Right? It wasn't a new idea to help people find dates and to find mates. They just did it a different way that was now possible because new technology was around. During this time, the founders in the business of Tinder started to figure out how to monetize. They allowed people to pay for super likes and promotion, all this kind of stuff. And frankly, like, I was already married by all this time, so I've never been installed Tinder. I'm not going to. It's not something I want to have to explain why it's on my phone. But they started to figure out monetization, and within a few years, by 2017, they were doing $400 million a year in revenue, and over time, they became the crown jewel for IAC, which had put all of their dating properties into one thing called Match. And the app kept doing so well that it became the crown jewel of Match, this division of IAC. Depending upon the year you look at, they were doing close to $1 billion a year in revenue, and nearly 60% of the total revenue, and most of the growth for this Match division. And by 2020, you were seeing articles about how addictive the idea of Tinder was, and the gamifying of stuff was going for people, and adoption just kept going up and to the right. And as you can usually see with stories like this, just when things seem like they can't stop going right, that's when they usually stop going right. And precisely at this moment, cracks started to occur in the business model. And the first problem is that for an app like Tinder, whose whole monetization model is based on you using the app, there's a fundamental disconnect between the interests of the owners of the business and the users of the business. So why are people using Tinder? They want to eventually find somebody to be a mate and settle down with, right? That's the idea. That's what people use on hookups. Now, if you do that and you find somebody and you maybe get married or you find a long-term partner, well, you stop using the app and you stop paying. And that's not what the app wants if you're a match and you own this business called Tinder who needs to make money. And in the case of Tinder, there's a fundamental disconnect between the interests of the customers and their goal and what the interest of the owners is. And fundamentally, the owners want to keep people using and paying, while the users are interested in finding a mate and stopping to be a customer. And you do this for enough years, and eventually people start to figure out these dating apps aren't that interested in actually helping solve my problem, which is, I'm looking for a partner. They're sitting keeping me addicted to the app and keeping me swiping. And you do that for long enough, eventually word starts to get around. That people start to realize, I'm not actually going to find success in dating on these apps. They're just going to create more frustration for me and take a lot of my money. And the second thing started to go against Tinder, which was the competition started to heat up. So remember, this has become a pretty viable big business. They're doing $1 billion plus a year in revenue. They're growing like crazy. And people are starting to, notice that. And so remember early on I mentioned Whitney Wolf Herd, who was one of the early team members. Well, she eventually goes through a lot of drama with the Tinder team and inside of Match, and it's pretty acrimonious, and I'm not going to talk about that in this video, but she's one of a growing number of people who leaves the company and goes to start up upstart apps that go against the grain of what Tinder is about and start to try to carve up its market share. He started an app called Bumble, and Bumble's idea was that women could contact you first, rather than men being the initiator of everything. And there were tons of variations like this that go on. Hinge is one where you're actually supposed to want to find a mate, the app designed to be deleted and all this kind of stuff. And so they started to carve up the business of Tinder and try to basically, have some of it for themselves. And so besides the first thing going wrong, which was the idea of the disconnect between the users and the interest of the app, and the second one being that there's a lot more competition,
Good, I found some.
headwinds started to appear for the app with Tinder. Started to hurt the business. And by 2020, people had started to figure it out. Nearly 30% of the population of the US had tried dating apps of one sort or another. And it's interesting that number was 30% in 2020. Guess when it was also 30%? 2019. And you have a situation where 8 years in, dating apps have been tried by pretty much everybody who's going to try them. And people were starting to figure it out. But wait, it gets worse. There's a fundamental problem also with dating apps, which is men by and large, many of them are getting pretty frustrated by them. The number of percentage of times that women will swipe on people to approve them and match them is relatively low compared to men. And I'm paraphrasing kind of the stats, but it's like 3 to 1 more likely. Women are very selective and men are not. And what you have is an imbalance where a lot of men are unfortunately unable to show any kind of progress because they're not top 10% or top 20% men. And women are all waiting around to match with a few high value, high in demand men. And so again, this exacerbates, and this gender imbalance exacerbates a lot of the ideas of online dating, creating even more frustration with the customer base. And eventually that catches up to an app like Tinder. Today, 79% of people report being totally frustrated with dating apps. And anecdotally, I go talk to people, and you see posts on social media and stuff like that, people are like, I'm done with the apps. I'm not doing these anymore, because they suck. Turns out it's a pretty crappy way to find a mate. But wait, it gets worse. We talked about how Tinder came along at a perfect time for millennials to be there. Well, it turns out Gen Z is very different than millennials. They have very different priorities than millennials. By and large, a lot of them don't want to do some of the things that dating apps are really good for. One of those in particular is hookup culture. I talk to a lot of people in their teens and early 20s now. The idea of basically having hookup culture facilitated by an app, something that was pretty prevalent and permitted and to somewhat even accepted by the Tinder kind of generation, they would have nothing to do with that. I had one young person express to me the other day how they felt like that was kind of yucky. They didn't want to be part of that. And Gen Z, basically is coming up in a way where they're totally disinterested in the things that Tinder can offer and totally disinterested in the idea of dating or meeting somebody by an app. And there's another thing with Gen Z. They are a pretty anxious group of people. And they're not super trusting of things they see online. And horror stories of people having bad interactions or, kind of dangerous people being connected to on the apps, that doesn't help either. Less than half of people feel like online dating is super safe at this point, and that trend is only getting worse. So combine all this together, and suddenly you've got a disaster for Tinder. Revenue has stopped growing, and a once high-flying app, isn't doing the same level of growth as it was before. And in 2022, Tinder actually lost 600,000 users in one of its important markets in the UK. Kind of an insane turnaround and reversal of fortune. And look, when management stops seeing growth, a lot of times they start thrashing around trying to figure out how to solve for it. And Tinder was no exception to this rule. They started to go through and do things like crypto promotions and metaverses and all this kind of stuff that just kind of went away from not understanding the core problem of why the app is not growing, which is the world has changed underneath Tinder, and Tinder still acts like it's 2012, and it's not. And similarly, the core of what the business was, and the founders and all that kind of stuff, there was a lot of squabbling. You remember Whitney, who we talked about before? Well, she had complained and sued and settled for a payment. And the founders of Tinder, Sean and those guys, they sued Match as well to try to recover money for themselves, and eventually settling with them for $441 million to kind of help them get paid off in terms of the lawsuit that they had. And by 2022, the Match stock basically reflected kind of this underperformance. The stock dropped over 70% in 2022. And like most things that go wrong, what killed Tinder and what has made it struggle wasn't one thing. It was fundamentally a bunch of things together. One of those, not paying attention to what's going on with your audience and the world changing around you. Number two, not having a stable team. Number three, when things do change, thrashing around and kind of just doing crazy stuff like cryptocurrencies and NFTs to try to create growth, and on and on. And ultimately, those things together caused Tinder to just basically miss the change. And it's struggled ever since they made those mistakes. But ultimately, all kind of date back the original decisions they made at the very beginning back in 2012. So the biggest sign of things going really wrong is that the head of the Match Group, the CEO, had to personally step in and is taking over the turnaround at Tinder with the idea of seeing if they can fix it. And ultimately, we'll have to see. But again, this is all just kind of a lesson of when we have the same kind of challenges that I've detailed in this video, you either get to make the right decisions in face of those, or, well, you can make the wrong ones. You end up kind of where Tinder has. All right, that's the story of Tinder. The lessons learned from that.
Fuck's sake. I'll fuck it up. The cook of Reddits.
Brother, this is the 10th time in 2 hours. She can't handle much more. We agreed on $500 per hour, however long I want. And I have a lot of Twitch subs, buddy. So get back to it. Oh yeah, that's it. Hello, Internet. So, this is my first membership video, and as you guys know, it'll also be going on my Patreon, so it doesn't really matter what platform you subscribe to me on. But my plans for this content are kind of in the air. I just assume people want more of what I already do, but with a bit more freedom, since I don't think there's going to be any ads on here anyway, which is, the whole point. But anyway, since these are member videos, I'll take your suggestions very seriously and try to see what I can do. But without further ado, on to the posts. Alright, as you guys know, cucks are really the bottom of the barrel in terms of the status you want for your relationship. Because no bullshit, I always find it sad, more than anything, because it's clear that these people aren't socialized normally or value themselves anyway, because if they were, they wouldn't be in the situation they're in. But that certainly won't stop us from making fun of this absolutely degenerate behavior. And if you find yourself in a situation where your partner wants to open up the relationship in any way, just fucking leave. Like, please. Do yourself a favor and put on some Brooks and run as fast as you can. But anyway, let's look at the first post. Alright, so our first dude is on NoFap, which is actually a sub that I want to look at some point. But am I a cuck? Girlfriend of 4 years took a trip with her girlfriends to Dubai. I couldn't go because I was working. When the trip ended and she was in the airport coming back home, she called and she started crying on the phone and telling me she cheated and started saying sorry, how she was all drunk, blah blah blah, etc. Okay, this is never an excuse, ever. If you think that you're gonna make a bad decision in any circumstance, why would you ever do this or put yourself in a situation where this could happen? This is planned. I never, ever accepted drunk or, any type of lack of sobriety to be a valid reason to cheat in any sort of way, or an excuse, more like. It's just absolutely unacceptable in any form. I was furious and started arguing with her, and then I asked her what they did together. As she was explaining what they did, like how she was giving him oral, and how he was fucking her in what positions. Why would you ask for this? I noticed I started getting hard and turned on. Oh god, and it was fucking with my head. After we got off the phone, I started to beat off to the thought of her getting railed by other dudes as she explained the story, and after I finished, I felt like a total loser. Oh my god, he's self-aware too, and felt sick to my stomach. We agreed to break up and take a break. No, this is not break material. This is never see this person ever again in your life. But I feel so weak after beat.
My ex actually wants to do break with me, but I just like, if you do break with me, you can just leave. And I don't accept break during relationship. If your girlfriend wants a break of your relationship, you fucking leave immediately. Cause this relationship will not stand for long. Don't be a blue pill shit, and don't be a red pill shit. Black pill makes sense, to be fair.
Eating off to that. Okay, I don't know why this guy's on NoFap, because he has a girlfriend, and obviously they probably had sex at some point. Or if, oh god, that would be even worse if they never had sex, but she just went to Dubai and, got railed by some other random dude. Like, holy shit, this would destroy any self-esteem I had up to that point. But this motherfucker said break. I know a lot of these stories can be fake, but I kind of believe this one for some reason. It has a lot of interaction, so I think, oh my god, this got double the likes or upvotes from the original post. The gym has claimed a new member. Yes, hopefully it has, actually. If this ever happened to me, I don't know. Maybe I probably wouldn't become a bodybuilder, but my routine would be completely different. I'd probably just start ego lifting every single day out of spite or something. I don't know. It's not a break. It's permanent. Never go back. You're a cuck if you go back. She was honest, but it was out of guilt, not care. 2, you're not a cuck for jacking off to it. It was a different scenario, something new. Almost a fantasy, but not something real. I don't know about this one. I almost understand what he's saying, but this is not something, like, why did you're porn-brained if your first thought went to this? Like, just completely porn-brained. Like a coping mechanism, too. You may find yourself jacking off to the thought of it a few more times over the next few months to get the anger out. I am really interested in what the pathology of this is, because this is not what I would be doing. I would be looking for another partner, like, immediately, basically. It doesn't sound like their relationship was that serious. I mean, I guess 4 years is serious, but why weren't you, like, I don't know, engaged by this point? Maybe I'm different, but I've never been cheated on, so I don't know what it's like, but I would get over it pretty quickly, because that's really fucked up. I mean, obviously I would be sad, but I think I would get over it way quicker than, just a normal relationship ending. But yeah, I don't think this guy's a cuck, but this surely is some of the most pathetic shit I've ever read. So we're just gonna move on. Maybe he's a cuck in spirit, I don't know. Reddit cuck regrets his decision. I deeply regret becoming a cuckold, and I think it ruined my life. My wife and I have been married for 21 years. Holy shit.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
We moved out, so we're empty nesters now. We always had a pretty normal sex life, but we decided to spice it up. We tried BDSM, not really for us. And we tried pegging. It hurt. Oh god. And we also tried piss play one drunk night. But honestly, that was just gross, and neither of us enjoyed that. About a month ago, we decided to try something new. We'll get a bull. Okay, I think this has to be fake, right? I don't know why would he say this? Or I use the exclamation point. It's like kind of cartoony. We did some searching online and found this guy who was local, about 15 years younger, and has a massive black cock. Perfect.
What
right?
the fuck,
True Reddit
bro?
boys thinking this is real
Oh my
and not
god.
made up fetish porn. I 100% agree.
That's
And
disgusting,
you'll see this
man.
on the next sub that we're gonna
Oh,
look at, Slutty
shit.
Confessions. It has so many cheating stories, but most of them are just fucking fantasies, I think, at the end of the day. They're not really detailed. They're kind of, like, cheesy and corny. They're written poorly. But I actually tried to find stories that didn't really fall into those lines. It was written by real people, it seemed. And I guess it seemed more believable, but I don't believe this at all. I just can't see how any man would want their woman getting railed by some mid-20s black dude. Shit is weird. I was gonna say something, but I think the next commenter said exactly what I was gonna say. Too much porn. They think just because they like watching it on their computer/phone,
Porn is
they'll like the
shite.
real thing with their SO as one of the participants. At least that's what I imagine is happening to these people, just porn addicts. And I think it's true. I think there's something to be said, and I think this is researched really well as well, that the more like porn brains you get, essentially, the more novelty you seek. So what's more novel than watching your wife literally get railed by someone who doesn't look anything like you, you know? It's really fucked up, but I mean, there's plenty of studies that suggest that, you know, you kind of seek, it's like drugs, you want stronger and stronger shit, right? Least degenerate Redditor. I bet you anything they are fat, they probably would be, and their wife probably isn't that attractive either. Perfect, right? No. Alright, so now we're on Slutty Confessions, and like I said, this one has a lot of cuck stories too, but I chose, like, I really was specific with the ones I picked out. I had to go through a bunch of them. But my husband accepted that I wanted another man to breed me, and I hate this word. I hate when people use this word. And I think I found the perfect guide to do it. Was reached out to by another Redditor who saw this post. Everything about him was perfect. He lives very nearby, and we are meeting tonight after I get off of work and talk more in person. I'll post an update later tonight or tomorrow. Edit 2. I want his babies. He is perfect. Both of us agreed to start tomorrow. I am going off of BC. I gave him an amazing BJ in his car as a send-off before he dropped me off at home. My husband was surprised I found a man this fast, but he gave his blessing. Why are we using diction to make it sound like this is like some holy event? Why he's giving his blessing to get, like, to have his wife get fucked? What kind of shit is this? Thanks for all the support, everyone. I will be a mother soon. Bye, Reddit. We have been married for 2 years now, and so far he has been okay with me being with another man. Sorry, with other men. With other men, plural, as long as we use protection. But yesterday he finally told me yes to my biggest desire. This is, oh my god, I want to hear his perspective. He is okay with me having another man impregnate me. I am so happy that he is so accepting of me. I love him so much. Yeah, this is not love, guys.
Ew.
I have been wanting to be a mother for the longest time, and now I can finally be one. Why didn't you choose him? Is he like infertile or something? Like, what am I missing here? He is letting you get fucked by others. He is letting you go for pregnancy. So my question is, what is he doing really? This is my question too. He accepts this part of me, and I am very lucky to have him. We have sex pretty regularly as well, of course. Minus 22 downvotes. Your husband also joins when others fuck you, or you like to do it without his presence. He isn't really into that stuff. He doesn't like me bringing other guys home as well. Wow, I can't imagine why. So I usually go to the other guy's place then come back. Your husband is massively depressed and he is doing everything he can to keep you. Thank you. Fucking finally, someone said it. He probably feels sick to his stomach when you leave the house. Have you ever asked properly if he's okay with this instead of making it out to be something you need to do? You should tell him it's something you're interested in, only if he is. True. But also, just break up. This is obviously not going to work out. It's okay to casually date. And even then I wouldn't recommend it, but being married to someone now is just another step. And not only a step, it's like a huge leap. Unlikely, so there is no actual certainty here. She just assumes probably. We are very happy as things are, yeah, I'm sure. I normally try not to kink shame, but reading this gave me a visceral reaction of disgust and worry for your husband. I hope your partner doesn't resent you, himself or the child later on in life. If I try to place myself in his shoes, it sounds as literal hell. I hope he is in the right mindset and that he does this out of his own volition and not because you coerced him into it. This is really what it sounds like. If you really want him to go through with it, at least make sure your partner gets a good psychiatrist so he doesn't kill himself in a few years, because if he sees clear at some point, that's the only way out, to not have to raise or pay for the child you want now. Yeah, man, there's only one real way this is going to go, and it's going to be a complete disaster.
Oh shit, I killed with a knife. Oh my gosh.
Does 1 or 2 sentence reactions to it. It's, oh my god, it's going to be such hell. This person has no idea what they're doing, and of course they deleted their account because they're probably giant pieces of shit, and it didn't actually work out because this was 3 years ago. Have fun being a single mother? Question mark. Oh god, at least everybody else is on board, thank god. Cucked my boyfriend, and now there's confliction. We recently experimented for the first time with him being a cuck by finding a guy on Tinder. He came over and fucked me so good in front of my boyfriend, and it was the best sex of my life. I've never ever felt that good in bed with my boyfriend, and I'm not sure how to feel about it. This guy was clearly more experienced, then why didn't you have sex with your boyfriend more to get more experience together. And it made me feel like I'm missing something, but I do still love my boyfriend. I just didn't realize sex could be that intense and passionate, and I just kind of look at my boyfriend in a less manly way and wish he could be able to do that for me. Yep, here we go. If the castle of cards wasn't crumbling already, now it certainly is. But yeah, it was surreal. It was like I was having an exorcism underneath this guy by how much I was screaming and shaking, and my boyfriend got overwhelmed enough to where he left the room and let us keep going alone. In hindsight, I probably should have stopped after that, but he said we could keep going. But now I think he was just trying to be nice for me. But yeah, I don't know if this is tarnished. Oh, sorry, this is.
How the
tarnished
fuck people
relationship
exist
or
like
not
that?
yet.
Oh my
This entire
gosh.
relationship was tarnished when the idea came up. All right, we are way past it being tarnished now. You are picking up the pieces at this point. But I hope there's a positive end to this, because him being mad at me for having orgasms with another guy after he convinced me to do all this is super unfair. Oh, so it was his idea? Is this really it? I think we're missing
Oh, I blame the
context.
guy
Your
if it's his
relationship will
idea.
never be the same now. 1, you discovered great sex you weren't getting. 2, I look at my boyfriend in a less manly way. You'll never get over this now. True as well. 3, you've lost any respect for your boyfriend that you once had, and you won't overcome this. 4, you'll compare any sex you had now with your boyfriend to Tinder guy now, and he'll feel it. 5, you'll either continue with other guy with your boyfriend who you think, less of now, and sex with him will be less frequent until there is none at all. 6, most likely the only sex he will get is watching you with other men now. I hate how this person types so many shortcuts. I think y'all jumped into something too fast and now he regrets it, but Pandora's box has been opened and you will never be the same. So you need to decide if you want to stay with him. Will you be able to overcome your need for great sex that he can't give you, or will you start cheating if he wants to stop the? Okay, this was already cheating. This was consensual cheating. Every brand of cheating is going to be extremely harmful to a relationship, whether someone gives consent, quote unquote, or not. You need to be 100% honest with each other and do more research before jumping into bed with anyone else. There is no research to be done. It's either you're cheating on your boyfriend or you're not. And if this is something he wanted, then it's equally his fault too. I just want to know why she consented to this at all. Why? This is something that we never talk about either. Why does the woman consent to this, even if the boyfriend does bring it up as a good suggestion? That just makes me think she wanted to cheat as well, and now she's using the fact that he asked for it as a deflection. Well, let me know what you guys think. Bitch, you're retarded. That's your job to build him up clearly. I can't even read this part, but I'm surprised this comment stayed after calling someone retarded. But it got 19 upvotes, which is pretty sick. This has totally tarnished your relationship. Yes, it's super unfair that you had an orgasm, did nothing to include your boyfriend. You didn't hold his hand, didn't kiss him, didn't say, this is great, but I need you in this with me. You failed the girlfriend part of it. Like I said, they both failed the relationship part of it way before this even happened. And the worst part, you failed him in your own mind. He didn't do it, you did. You are now looking down on him. He had strength to let you try this. Most men won't. And you fucked up. I wouldn't call it strength, but you fucked up by letting him walk out. You found sex to be more important than the love you had for your boyfriend. Geez, do you not see how fucked up? See how you fucked up? How narrow-sighted do you need to be in your own head? You think that Tinder guy would be able to let someone else have sex with you if you were his? Monogamous marriages fail 55% of the time. Polymarriages increases by 30%. Cuck marriage relationships fall into poly category. Your relationship, I think, is at the point, it's just a matter of time before you two break up. And with this Tinder guy, you've now set a new bar that you will be seeking in every relationship, sexual situationship. You'll seek it and never really find it, because even sex with the same Tinder guy will be different each time. You just made yourself into an alpha widow. By the way, it's not just your boyfriend's fault. You have to accept you also agreed to this. You didn't shoot his idea down. You are half of the problem in the decision, if not more, since it was your body. You need to accept responsibility as well, not just blame him and say it's super unfair. I'd never share my girl with another guy, ever. That's just me. Facts. I only basically disagree with a few points here, but I think this guy has it pretty spot on. Like I said, a lot of this problem is prevention by never ever mentioning it, and if you actually do really have some type of deep desire to do this, I don't think you should be in a monogamous or even long-term relationship. You're not seeking a relationship at that point. You're seeking, debauchery. Nothing deep or meaningful, just, sex for sex. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this first Patreon video, and I hope you guys liked it. And I'm certainly going to be doing way more of, not specifically these, but whatever you guys suggest. So please leave that in the comments, and I will see you guys in the regular channel video. Peace.
How the fuck people like that can exist? Oh my gosh. That's so gross, bro. What the fuck? Why the fuck you gonna let your girl to cheat on you? You're gonna watch, bro. What the fuck? That's why pornography is bullshit, and that's why I like the UK laws that it for the age concern and stuff like you have to show your ID card to the porn sites just to get let in to watch it, which is the best thing to be fair because to be fair, porn is shite. Porn is the most disgusting thing. Actually, the anal sex. See, see the I can't say. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say it. The A plus, bro. Right? Fuck. See the anal stuff. This is not real thing, and you should never fucking do this shit. Never. This is disgusting. Everyone who thinks anal, it's a normal, it should educate himself, and this can actually bring you disease, and it will brings you a lot of shits. So basically, you never fucking do anal, alright? Avoid it at any means necessary. This is disgusting. Still not watch my. Alright, no fucking relationships. The self-hating neo-Nazis. Let's see that one. This video, alright, fuck it's like.
Alright, this is one of the weirdest things that I think is happening online. You've got people of color, minorities, openly supporting neo-Nazi ideology. An entire movement built on white identity has some of the loudest people pushing it, and they're not even white. So I wanted to dive into this whole self-hating neo-Nazi phenomenon. Why minorities start following an ideology that considers them subhuman, and how people get radicalized or even try to be the token black guy. You know, I'm one of the good ones, right? Recently, a few months ago in November 2025, the last place anyone ever expected a white supremacist coded attack was inside a high school mosque in Jakarta, in Indonesia. During Friday prayers, a series of explosions ripped through the prayer hall, sending shrapnel, smoke, and waves of panic across the student body, and around 50 to 90 people, including students, teachers, and staff, were injured in the blast, and the perpetrator was identified almost immediately. A quiet 17-year-old student who was enrolled in the same school, who himself was badly wounded, and what stunned the Indonesian investigators wasn't the brutality of the attack, but the imagery and symbols tied to it. It wasn't a jihadist attack, nor did it resemble any known local extremist groups. Instead, the clues all pointed to something jarringly foreign: Western neo-Nazi culture. Police found a toy submachine gun that he had modified and decorated with markings connected to white supremacist ideology, including the infamous 14 words slogan. And if you're unfamiliar, the 14 words is one of the most infamous slogans in modern white supremacist ideology. It refers to a 14-word phrase coined by American neo-Nazi David Lane. It goes as, quote, "We must secure the existence of our people and the future for white children." It's essentially a mission statement for white power movements, calling for racial purity, exclusion, and the preservation of a white ethno-state. Despite how simple it sounds, it's a coded rallying cry used globally by neo-Nazis, extremists, and racist terror groups. This young man also included phrases invoking Brenton Tarrant, the Australian neo-Nazi who massacred 51 Muslim worshippers in Christchurch. The most disturbing discovery came from his bedroom. A 42-page handwritten diary, now central to the investigation, that reads like a mixture of personal despair, rage at his classmates, and a chilling fascination with Western far-right culture. found that he was immersed in extremist content. Investigators found he had joined at least one Telegram group dedicated to
Fuck.
glorify mass shooters, and in his diary he referenced multiple Western attackers by name. In January 2025, we also saw Solomon Henderson open fire in his high school cafeteria in Antioch, Tennessee, killing a female classmate before taking his own life. Henderson was black. He was an African-American student, yet investigators discovered a trove of writings where he praised Adolf Hitler and neo-Nazi mass killers and spewed hatreds towards people of his own race. In a 51-page manifesto he shared online, he voiced violent white supremacist beliefs and even called for genocide against racial and religious minorities, aligning himself with neo-Nazi accelerationist and violent misogynist or incel ideologies. He described himself as a black man, angry at members of his own race. His manifesto, which he called Nickcell, is just full of self-hatred. He calls himself an involuntary nigger, twisting the incel label into a form of racial self-loathing. He writes, "I'm disgusted with being black. It makes me feel worthless." He also calls himself a groyper incel, openly tying his worldview to Nick Fuentes' extremist movement and its mixture of misogyny, anti-Semitism, and far-right accelerationism, despite Nick Fuentes also being a minority himself. In May 2023, 33-year-old Mauricio Garcia, a man of Latino heritage, opened fire at an outlet mall in Allen, Texas, murdering 8 people before he was killed by police. Garcia had the Nazi tattoos on his body and kept a diary professing a white power ideology, writing about how he became a full-blown white supremacist, even as he self-identified as Hispanic. Of course, this is not an isolated case. Garcia is part of a small but growing subset of Hispanics that are drawn to white nationalist movements. There's this Twitter account called Kaguya's Top Gal. It's like the most abhorrently white supremacist, racist shit. And surprise, the guy running the account is just some random Mexican kid. Haeon Jong-yu, a Korean heritage man from Texas, literally brands himself online as an Asian Nazi and an open white supremacist. Mr. Gypsy Crusader Paul Nicholas Miller, a far-right streamer and self-proclaimed neo-Nazi who became infamous for his live broadcasts filled with racial slurs, Nazi salutes, and just edgy stuff, and he openly aligns himself with white supremacist ideology, despite belonging to 2 ethnic groups historically targeted by Nazis. His mother is Mexican and his father is Romani. One of the earliest examples I want to go back to is Daniel Burroughs, and he was born to a Jewish family in New York, went to a Hebrew school, and even had a bar mitzvah. He became one of the most fanatical neo-Nazis in America. He rose to be a high-ranking member of the American Nazi Party and later Grand Dragon, the Ku Klux Klan's New York chapter. And when the New York Times exposed his Jewish background in 1965, he killed himself. These cases are not isolated anomalies. There have been other reports of non-white individuals in far-right extremist circles. For example, like we talked about, Nick Fuentes, one of America's most notorious white nationalist live streamers, is half Mexican, yet preaches racist, anti-Semitic messages. Enrique Tarrio, former leader of the Proud Boys, is Afro-Cuban, and under his tenure, the group openly courted white nationalist ideology, while paradoxically holding Enrique as the figurehead. In fact, hate groups often cynically use such minority members as token proof that they aren't racist, even as their core ideology remains anchored in racial hatred. All of these cases raises the same perplexing question. Why would someone join a movement that seemingly hates people like them? Well, to answer all this, we have to dive in psychology of self-hatred and extremist radicalization. We have to grapple with concepts like internalized racism, identification with the aggressor, and profound alienation, which are all frameworks that are going to give us insight on how an oppressed or marginalized individual can start to echo this ideology of their oppressors, or would-be oppressors.
Show me the doll that you like best or that you like to play with.
Psychologists define internalized racism as what happens when members of a marginalized group absorb the negative stereotypes, biases, and narratives about their own group that a racist society produces. Now, I'm going to be showing a lot of examples on screen. Most of them are going to be coming from an African American perspective since, I'm black. But of course, course, this applies to any other minority. Over generations, messages of white superiority spread through everything from colonial education systems to media portrayals can become ingrained in the very psyche of people targeted by these messages. In communities of color worldwide, this can manifest into self-doubt, low self-esteem, colorism, or even self-hatred. When someone like Solomon Henderson proclaims that he is angry at members of his own race, this is internalized racism taken to its extreme. He came to see his own black identity as something abhorrent, mirroring white supremacist views. Now, this process can begin subtly, like a child of color growing up bombarded by images of equating beauty, intelligence, or virtue with being white, and seeing people like themselves cast only as sidekicks, villains, or victims. And over time, they might start to believe these hierarchical values, consciously or subconsciously, accepting that white is better and that their own race is lesser. Internalized racism primes a person to align with these ideas that promise proximity to the superior identity or whiteness and rejection of the inferior one. Also closely related is a classical psychological phenomenon often called identification with the aggressor. This concept, with roots in trauma psychology, describes how people, especially the vulnerable or victimized, may cope by adopting traits or ideology of those who have power over them. There's a kind of Stockholm syndrome here at play. The oppressed person comes to identify with their oppressor in an attempt to feel empowered themselves. Marwa Azab, a psychology professor at Cal State Long Beach, explains it this way, quote, I admire this person who is strong, who is a leader. I don't look like them, but maybe if I act like them, sound like them, even turn against my own people, I will prove that I'm one of them. In other words, a person of color embracing white supremacism might be desperately signaling, look, I can be the good one. I'm on your side. Please accept me. This is where you see a lot of coons in African American culture.
Toby be good nigga for massa. Good nigga. Don't send Toby away. Toby be good for your hand, boss. Good for your hand, massa.
That's all right, Toby. That's all right. You be a good field hand and you can stay here.
Toby stay. Toby stay. Toby be good now. Toby be real good.
Does racism exist?
Absolutely not. And it has never existed.
Whoa!
It has never. It's
whoa!
It's a made-up word.
It's a very tragic
Actually, it's
paradox,
true.
as in trying to gain safety or validation by siding
I think it's true. I read a statement about this. I don't know what it's not.
Yes, let's go! Influencing to kill. Yeah, propaganda's so strong over here. I'm gonna get all these to kill each other.
The psychological mechanism provides a twisted sense of empowerment, as instead of feeling like a victim, they imagine themselves as part of the victorious, dominant, superior group. Keep in mind, this is all just social constructs anyways. We see this in people like Solomon Henderson's writings. For instance, he expressed praise for Hitler and other racist murderers, figures who, had they known him, would have despised him for his skin color. However, by venerating them, Henderson was identifying with the aggressor, perhaps to escape the pain of feeling like a target. I don't know. It's all a coping strategy that just turns horribly wrong. Beyond racial and identity issues, many of these individuals share histories of alienation, abuse, or mental distress. Social isolation and psychological distress are often the root of radicalization. Across all races, young people drawn to extremist ideologies frequently start with common threads that transcend racial and ethnic groups, such as loneliness, depression, a sense of emasculation or failure, and a crave for belonging. Now, for much of modern history, mainstream culture and Western societies, and in many countries influenced by Western colonialism, there's been a clear and damaging signal sent. Whiteness is the norm and ideal, and darker-skinned people are others, or often inferior others. In film and television, who are the heroes and love interests? Who are the sidekicks, criminals, or comic relief? In news coverage, which victims get humanized and which are ignored or blamed for their own plight. These patterns have been studied by scholars and often felt by communities of color daily, and the effect on minority individuals can be profound. Many develop a deep sense of what W.E.B. Du Bois called the double consciousness, seeing themselves through the eyes of society that demeans them. At worst, they can internalize negative stereotypes, a process we discussed as against racism. Take, for example, the concept of color hierarchies in colonized regions. In Latin America, centuries of Spanish colonial caste systems created an entrenched hierarchy of color, where lighter-skinned people are privileged, and those of indigenous or African descent are marginalized. Immigrants from these cultures may carry such prejudices with them. Then, by arriving in the United States, they encounter a different racial schema that puts them below white Americans. This can cause a minority individual to feel doubly devalued, first by their own society's colorism, then by American racism that treats them as foreigners or inferiors. In extreme cases, that could also mean a Latino person, or often cases a black person, aligning with white supremacists, essentially saying, hey, I'm not like those other bad minorities. I'm on your side. I'm one of the good ones. In American media, there's also the trope of the model minority in some communities, an expectation that one can earn conditional acceptance by embodying certain stereotypes, i.e. being the good, compliant minority. Those who fail to meet these expectations may feel some form of resentment or shame. In American television, there's the acceptable Negro character that shows up as the black character who's deliberately written to be safe, agreeable, and non-threatening to white audiences. They're rarely allowed to be angry or engage in radical politics or structural critiques of racism. Instead, they exist to reassure the viewer that the system works, that success is possible if you just behave correctly. Their role isn't to challenge power, but to validate it. And a classic example of this is The Cosby Show. Cliff Huxtable was groundbreaking in representation, but he was also deliberately apolitical and insulated from systemic racism. The show presented black success as purely a matter of personal responsibility, reinforcing the idea that racism was no longer a meaningful barrier, an image that conservative commentators today weaponize against real-world discussions of inequality.
Talk about you. How did that impact you? How did something that happened 60 years ago impact your life?
It impacts me all the time.
How?
What do you? Okay.
You're at Texas A&M. You're doing great.
Okay. Yes. Sure. Yeah.
So are you a living example that all that's a bunch of nonsense and you can just act good and behave well and succeed?
But there's also living examples of the exact opposite.
If black people were super well behaved, we would be racist in the other direction. We'd say black people. Oh yes, dude. Yes. My day is about to turn around for the better.
There's two different races of black people here. We have regular black people, like us here, and then we have Gus.
You're actually the reason why people like us can't do well, because they sold to our oppression and you bought it. Blacks were doing better under the Jim Crow era.
Acknowledge the oppression.
And all that to say, the idea that behaving correctly guarantees safety collapses the moment you actually look at real life. Take Philando Castle. He was a school cafeteria supervisor, known for feeding kids and following the rules. However, during a traffic stop, he politely informed an officer he was carrying a legal firearm, which was exactly what he was instructed to do, and he was still shot and killed with his girlfriend and her child in the car. Amadou Diallo, an unarmed immigrant standing in the doorway of his apartment. Officers fired 41 shots at him. He had no criminal record, no weapon, no history. His mistake was reaching for his wallet. Tatiana Jefferson shot through her own window while playing video games with her.
This video touches on serious topics, but because I don't want to use words like grape and essay, there will be unfortunate editing to my words, and I just hope that doesn't take away from the seriousness of the message. I go through phases of using Twitter, or X, if you're weird. I scroll for 10 seconds before seeing some sweaty, small, Slim Jim smelling man trying to justify dating a 15-year-old. And he's 29. Keep scrolling and maybe you'll get lucky to find a woman's tweet about loving herself. Awesome. Don't look at the replies though, because it'll be filled with non-profile picture accounts telling her to get raped. And with new developments, she's gonna get unclothed, as well as her 8-year-old sister. Don't you love freedom of speech? Heads up, a pre-recorded ad read will be included in this video coming up soon. It's needed for my content so that I can keep educating my community about the grossness that is the internet, so I appreciate you for understanding that. But let's get back to getting very angry. Grok AI was launched in November 2023 by Elon Musk, and if you somehow have not caught on, anything that man touches turns into disaster. It has gotten in heat before when praising Hitler and mocking the Holocaust / denying the severity of the Holocaust, publishing fantasies, and specific training to be politically incorrect. AI has touched this channel once, and after I educated myself, it has never again and will never again. I never knew that Grok had an image generator until a few days ago when this mess began. That's how little I'm on Twitter. It is a dark and angry place, and I don't want to partake. Even in 2024, there was issues with the AI image generator, as Elon designed it to be specifically anti-woke in order to be competition with OpenAI, which is apparently biased. This led to politicians being generated with Grok, which other companies were not allowing. I wonder why. I had a hard time figuring out exactly when the image generation got recently out of hand, but late December is when it's clear to have worsened its issues in terms of predatory advances. Let's quickly talk about the sponsor of today's video so that we can get right into it. Let's be real. The internet is full of shady sites and trackers, so online safety is more important than ever, and that's why you need a solid VPN. Huge thanks to CyberGhost VPN for being the sponsor of today's video. CyberGhost routes your traffic through a secure encrypted tunnel, keeping your IP hidden and your data private. Just turn on CyberGhost VPN before you browse, and it encrypts and reroutes 100% of your traffic through their secure servers, so no one will ever know about your online activity. And even more, CyberGhost VPN doesn't keep logs, so not even themselves know what you're doing online. With just a few clicks, you can change your virtual location and unlock geo-blocked content from tons of streaming services, including Netflix, Amazon Prime, and so many more, or even snag better online deals and play games that are blocked in your region. CyberGhost works on all major platforms. We have Windows, Mac, Android, iOS, even smart TVs and consoles. One subscription covers up to 7 devices, which is perfect for sharing with family or friends. Right now, they're offering $2.03 a month plus 4 free months. That is 84% off, along with a 45 money-back guarantee and 24/7 support. Join over 38 million users and grab your discount via the link in the description box below, and stay safe out there. December 28th seems to be when children got involved with public Grok AI image generation, and I say public for a reason. Which, fuck you creeps, I'm keeping your ripper-ass usernames in my video. Go to hell, Adrian. Insanely enough, Grok has been apologizing for generating said CSAM content. You heard that right. AI is now apologizing. Journalism has absolutely peaked at the concept of a random Twitter user asking Grok to write a heartfelt notes app sorry, and it being cited as a real apology in articles, while the creator of Grok asks to be put in a bikini himself, and has said so little about the situation besides, well, that's bad. We're gonna give you a slap on the wrist. We're not kidding. What's beyond my comprehension is why was the Grok image maker not disabled when children's clothing were being taken off? As I wrote this video a few days ago, children and women were being violated and still are publicly for anyone to see. Hey y'all, Editing Alley here. This video might require a part 2 because daily as I'm making this video, new things just keep coming out about banning Grok or the possibilities of banning Grok's image generator. It's been very prominent about banning in the UK and just honestly a bunch of other countries. Not America, of course, because what do you think this is? A country with representatives that care about women and children? And that's what's such a big difference too. Disgustingly so, undressing programs have existed. For years, unclothed images of unconsenting adults and minors have been fed into systems in order for unloved pieces of shit who I pray to alone to goon to. They are too in love with the concept of molestation and a power dynamic to go to a free Twitter account or a star on the hub that is consenting. But they would never do that because she's a whore. right? They want a pure soul that they have control over. Typically, that's a private act, though, that they get to hide from their girl best friend or the mother whose child that is. Don't get me wrong, there's no difference in how disgusting it is whether it's public or not, but now, Grok is allowing for public humiliation and sexual assault for whoever wants to take part. Yes, what is happening right now is assault. If you do not think so, I hope one day your phone and computer files get examined. What is so lovely is that when women are trying to stand up for themselves and are understandably upset about the lack of consent in the making of these photos, they are smacked in the face with, well, that's just how it goes. Girl realizes uploading pictures of herself publicly online comes with the risk. Someone posting a clothed photo of themselves online gives absolutely nobody permission to alter that image. I've posted a photo of myself in a bikini, and I consented to that. If I post a clothed photo and you enter it in Grok, which has been done, thank you very much, you fucking weirdos, you are contributing to apologize. You are receiving a high from something that you know is wrong, and that power dynamic of non-consent. Why does this need explained, and how do people not understand that? Why are women being blamed for programming that men put into a chatbot? And why are women being blamed for the creepy people that are not satisfied with consensual? No matter how much time passes, it always goes back to, well, what was she wearing? There has never been so much free in the history of the internet than there is today. Twitter, the platform that all of this is happening on, has TPS. Okay, tip per second that these people want to unload a woman wearing a hijab. A hijab is the most important form of modesty and connection to faith, while being also a form of protection from invasive men. That many people's first thought was to take that off and put on her leggings. Are you fucking kidding me? You coward, using your backup because you damn well know that your mother would be disappointed in you. Do you have sisters? Backup one should have been swallowed. Moving on. I know I've been talking about men because that's the main issue here, but there are women that I have problems with too. Not sure if this is rage bait, and in case it is, I will not be giving her any clout and showing her profile picture or her username. But this Twitter user claims that women need to stop complaining and see this as a blessing. And when confronted about, well, what about the children? Her reply then was, womp womp, it's not on my feed, so why is it bothering you so much? Thank God the majority of replies are eating her ass up. It gives me a tiny little bit of faith in humanity, but pure disappointment towards her for doing nothing but trying to take advantage of the situation and not standing up for her fellow woman and their children. I massively respect all of the women speaking out about what is going on, because once you do, you are immediately a target. I know when this video comes out, if it reaches a certain community, I will be too. When I've seen women talk about this issue, they are immediately made to feel small in the replies, and to stay quiet, they are humiliated. But that's what these chode-ass people want. They want you to be quiet, and that just makes me want to be louder. We have not talked enough about this situation and CSAM. We have people like Sunny Panda, Ashi, Theo, Champion, Carlin, Caleb, Andrew, Matt, Ryan, Bruce, J-Man, and so many more generating inappropriate child images. By the way, I can plaster your usernames and tweets on here because it's public for anyone to see. Right? To test the waters, a user asks Grok to guess the ages of those in an image that it just generated. And it can tell that they are from the ages of 12 to 16. And in another one, it can understand the child is 6 to 8 years old. Why is it not programmed that if someone looks young, it can't generate an image of them? Hello? Was this concept not predictable at all? Actually, don't answer that. It was. It was very predictable. I just think they didn't care. If they did, again, instead of Elon puffing his chest and wiggling his finger, the software would have been disabled until tackling the issue. Important to note that we are just seeing what's public. The private premium Grok service is a whole new ballpark. The whole subreddit for Grok is full of people trying to perfect their prompts of not safe for work content, and you guessed it, young girls can and will pop up there. Of course, of the Redditors are angry at those who have an issue with this problem and are claiming that it's only OF models that are mad because then that means there's more competition. Hey, so that's not what's happening here. Anyone with a brain can understand how not okay and risky this is. Respectful and mature sex workers understand the importance of consent because their entire job relies on it. You just have to be a decent human being to be frustrated about the situation. I found this comment in the depths of a Reddit post. As a guy who has women in his life and family, where's this going? I think it's gross that you can take someone's clothed picture and have them violated. I was scared for a minute. The gooner in me likes it though. What the fuck? I wish I could send this on a giant sheet cake to his next family gathering. If I had an unfathomable amount of power, you wouldn't know. But there'd be signs. This situation brings up a huge argument of who's at fault. It's the user's fault for initiating that image generation. Absolutely. But why are we not equally as mad at the concept of Grok as a platform being able to produce undressed children, or anybody at all being able to be undressed and posted publicly? Why is that prompt able to be made, and why hasn't it been stopped? So it all kind of goes back to the creators of Grok in the end for allowing this activity to happen and continue to happen. If you provide a source for predators, they're going to use it. Period. It doesn't make the predator any less wrong, but they still made a source for predators. I think many things can be said where it's the user's fault, but in this case, it's both. It's absolutely both. That's why I will not accept the excuse of this being user error. Whose fault it isn't are the victims whose photos are being stripped from their non-lewd pages. For those who think it's the woman's fault for having photos online publicly, they are the same as people who believe victims were asking for it and deserve it for just existing when it comes to assault. If you're not mad, you are not paying attention enough. Renee Good, the woman and mother of 3 who was shot and murdered after dropping her 6-year-old off at school by ICE agent Jonathan Ross, has already been put in a bikini and mocked all over Twitter by right-wing propaganda saying that she deserved it when the officer, Jonathan Ross, say the terrorist's name, Jonathan Ross, was in no way, shape, or form being threatened while masked up with a weapon to her window. Grok is being used to mock and belittle anyone, and it's fucking disgusting. Until it is publicized that users have been criminally charged for making images of children or minors, or really anyone, but those are oh my god, those are so fucked up. We have right to believe that nothing is being done besides a burner account getting suspended. Big whoop-de-doo, they're gonna make another one. Grok is creating about 1 non-consensual sexual image per minute, and honestly, that seems extremely generous. Anytime I feel that the internet cannot get any worse, I'm proven wrong. I want to give you guys all of the resources possible that can be copied and pasted to send to anyone in need of them, or if you need them yourself, it'll all be linked in the description below, such as ncii.org, which stands for Stop Non-Consensual Internet Image Abuse, the Revenge Hotline, which also provides help for other forms of domestic abuse, and 2 other sources unless I find more that are specific to help minors. I am so sorry if those sources are needed to you or somebody that you know, but I hope with them some sort of justice can be served. Thank you for staying until the end of this video, as this is a huge issue and I want to spread the word as much as I can. I'm so thankful for you, and there is a huge chance that this video will get shadow banned, so the fact that you are hearing me talk right now just means the world to me. I don't know if you guys know this, but my videos are heavily restricted. I'm pretty sure I maybe have 5 that have not been restricted, which really affects how my videos show in the recommended feed, which is really unfortunate, especially because I really try to share as much information about the negatives going on the internet so that you can stay safe. So please make sure to like and subscribe if you have not already. It would really mean the world to me, because any type of push to the algorithm just helps so much. And don't forget to click the link in the description box below so that you can grab your special CyberGhost VPN discount that is available to you all. It keeps your data safe when you browse and unlocks all blocked content. online for just $2.03 a month. It is completely risk-free, so check it out today. As always, my socials will be in the description box below if you'd like to follow me on other platforms. And again, all of those resources will also be in the description box below so that you can check them out if needed. I will see you guys very soon, and please stay safe out there. Bye. Look at my computer. I have to read my script off of this. My dog stepped on it. I was hanging out around on my Discord because, hi, yes, I have a Discord, link in bio or wherever. And I have a channel on there for video suggestions that you guys might have. And number one, Ali Simp, thank you for that, by the way, sent in this. You should make a video about Wiz. It's like a dating app, but for children. Alarms start going off my...
I just lost my sauce already, so basically it's gonna be cooked. But anyway. Alright, just gonna stop the stream because nobody's watching anyway, so basically, yeah, just gonna chill. Alright, I will see you later.